Good afternoon to all. First of all, again, I will come back to your queries. Someone has asked that do question number 2 and question number 3 of exercise 9.2. Whomsoever queries this, so my gentleman advice to him or her, kindly go through the YouTube link properly and find out whenever I have solved these all questions of question number 2 and 3. In question number 2, there are 8 parts, and in question number 3, there are 2 parts. I have solved all in detail, and after that, when this exercise was done, queries were raised and those were again answered. So you are too late to sending the queries regarding such, and this is not the way that you are asking to solve question number 2 all the 8 parts. Please do practices and ask a particular part wherever you are finding it difficult, and moreover, if any clarity you need, you make a note of those particular parts I will solve, or later on whenever I'll be back to the school, you can come with these kind of difficulties. So be in touch with these links, and I have solved question number 2 all the 8 parts as well as both the parts of question number 3 already. Kindly go through those lectures or find out from your classmates when these lectures were delivered. The dates you can note from them. I do not remember even. And then next query is regarding question number 4, fifth part and 7th part of exercise 9.5, which just I have finished. Already I have explained it twice, but still, whose query is this? You read the question carefully. In question number 4, it is written simply that factorize. This is not conditional. Factorize means you are free to do the factorization. So if you think you can split the middle term over here, so you just split the middle term. 4 ones are 4. You go for the factorization of 4, that is 2 and 2, and 4a square minus 2a minus 2a plus 1. Then in first two, 2a is common, 2a minus 1, nothing is common, minus 1 common, 2a minus 1, and you are getting 2a minus 1 into 2a minus 1. You can do the middle term splitting also. And here it is lying either in the form of a square minus b square. Suppose you are taking it as x square and it as y square, that you know is x plus y into x minus y. So here x is a plus b, then you substitute that x a plus b, so here it is a plus b, y plus a minus b, so that is plus means a minus b, then into x, x again is a plus b, y a minus b, but minus sign is there, change both the signs, minus a plus b, and close it. So a and a will cancel here, b and b will cancel, you will left with 2a into 2b, and your answer will be equal to what? 4ab. Or second thing you can do here is you expand this in the form of a plus b whole square, like a square plus b square plus 2ab, and this in the form of a square plus b square minus 2ab. Do the subtraction of these two expanded forms, again you will be back to your answer 4ab. So that is your choice when you are free. Similarly here also you can find out the perfect squares. A is 2a, b is 1, so this is a perfect square of 2a minus 1, 2a minus 1. So that can later on be written as 2a minus 1 whole square is equal to 2a minus 1 into 2a minus 1. So in that way you can get the answer. And please adhere to the instructions whatever I am giving to you. And uh, parts can be solved, but if you are asking to do all the parts, like do question number 2 of exercise 9.2, so this is not good at all. You please go through the lectures carefully and let me know the particular part wherever you are finding the difficulties. So now the next topic I will start with you, that is your chapter number 3, understanding quadrilaterals. At least before this lockdown up to May 3, we have time to finish this topic because this is totally based upon understanding part. So I will explain it to you. So today you need to spend some quality time in reading the instructions before the exercise. So you go through like page, I'm reading the page number. Page number is 89. So what is special, you have to read there page 89, chapter 3, and that is your understanding quadrilaterals. So here the word, what are the objectives of this topic? After completion of this topic, what are the aims and objectives? You will be able to know about more about the polygons, how to classify the polygons, and what is a convex polygon, what is a concave polygon, and then how to solve the application part of the questions based upon the quadrilateral sum angle properties, and then some specified quadrilaterals, or uh, like some special type of quadrilaterals, which do we call trapezium, kite, parallelogram, rhombus, rectangle, square, including their properties. What are the special properties which are the part of these quadrilaterals? So go through these instructions before the exercise given in your book or whatever I'm sharing with you. So at least few things I will be discussing with you in today's lecture. So please adhere to this. First, if you see in introductory part, in 1 to 8, 1 to 8 and 9 to 10, there is a difference you will find. Suppose I am taking the first part in this polygon is drawn like this, and then I am taking one more picture that is something like this. Suppose this is there, this is something like this, and one more is there, this is something like this, and then I'm taking this is there, this is there, and one more is there, like something this. This is the another type. And 1 to 8, especially part number 1 to 8, in these figures you need to pay attention. And then these are 9 to 12, 9 to 12. See the difference, and please try to understand this very carefully. 1 to 8, if you find a figure, what is happening? See, the polygons are the combination of sides. Okay, like ABC is a polygon. That is a three-sided polygon triangle. What happens here? Here, if you see, I will start from here. Then I'll go like this, 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 and this. These are the lines which are intersecting at the end points only. I started from A and I finished at A. Here also I started from, suppose, here, and like this, this, and here. Then suppose I started from here, I went to this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, and came back to that point. Means ki from where I am beginning, at that particular point I am ending. So these are called the closed polygons. What are these called? Closed polygons. So in all these parts 1 to 8 you can check ki these are the closed polygons. Why? What is the difference? Ki why these are the closed polygons? Because no two segments intersects except at their end points. So if I'll say ki A, B and A, C and BC. As I said, if I'll start from here, then these are going to intersect at A. If you start from B, then you will come back and they are going to intersect at B. If you are going to start from C, you will come back to C, then these are going to intersect at C. So only at the end point. End point means from where you begin, at that particular point you can end. That you can count A, that you can count B, and that you can count C. Similarly, here also, from where you are beginning, you have to come back to that, and that is the point of intersection. But here what happens? No point of intersection is there. Moreover, the another thing, no collinear points will be finding in these polygons. That is the closed polygons. No collinear points are there. So two segments with a common end point, two segments with a common endpoint are always non-collinear. So 1 to 8, if you study these figures, they all are consisting of non-collinear points, and I hope all of you understand non-collinear means the points which are not lying at the same line. So if you speak about these other types of polygons, I'm saying one is your closed polygon. So when you are talking about the closed polygons, these are all. So the conditions I have explained to you. Then these 9 to 11, 9, 10 are not the polygons. So these are the polygons, these are not the polygons. Why? Why these are not the polygons? Simply you can write because these polygons does not follow the properties of the polygons. The properties of polygons I have explained to you. From where you have to begin, only the end point can be the intersecting point and no linear points can be there. And if you see here, if I start from here A, B, one point there is C, D and E. So I'm going and the lines are intersecting somewhere. There you will be finding no intersection anywhere. Here also you can see the point of intersection. Here also you can see the point of intersection is there. Here also, and even you can see B, C and E or A, C and D are collinear. So this is the another condition which is not possible within the polygon. So these are not the polygons and these are the polygons. Very clearly explained in your textbook, nicely explained. Please read it and find out what is a polygon. So I hope after that on page number 90 the meaning of polygon is also derived here. Poly means many, gon means sides. So number of sides, on behalf of number of sides I can differentiate the different polygons. One table is given and according to that the names we are giving to these polygons. Then if you speak about the types of polygons, mainly you are concerned with two types. One is your convex and another is your concave. Convex and concave. So I will draw one figure to differentiate the two. What is convex and what is concave? So convex polygon and your concave polygon. Suppose I am drawing this polygon. This is a convex polygon. Any quadrilateral you can take, or a pentagon you can take, or a hexagon you can take with 5 sides or 6. Means closed, which is a polygon. And concave also, like suppose I am talking about this. This is a concave polygon, or any other, like here this is like this. So what happens? What is the difference here? The main difference in convex polygon, whenever you are speaking about the convex polygon, all the angles at the vertices you can check A, B, C, D. In convex polygon, each angle definitely will be measuring less than that of 180 degree. If this A, B, C, D you are calling a polygon, so if you measure these angles, so each angle will be less than that of 180 degree. Number one. Number second, if you will join the opposite points end to end, then these are called the diagonals. Two differences I am sharing with you. So number one is in all the four angles, the measures will always be less than that of 180 degree. That is in which polygon? Convex polygon. And if you join the opposite vertices, these are called the diagonals, will always be intersecting to the interior part of this. So that is if the point of intersection is O. So in case of convex polygon, that point of intersection always will be lying to the interior of that. And in case of concave, at least one angle of that particular polygon will be measuring more than that of 180 degree. This is the difference. And if you'll join the diagonals, like if this is A, this is B, this is C and this is D, so A and C. See, AC is the one diagonal and BD is the another diagonal. So that diagonal will be lying to the exterior of that particular quadrilateral. So exterior of particular quadrilateral, this is another difference between the convex and the concave. One, you can differentiate on behalf of the degrees of 180 and another on behalf of the diagonal. Then you have regular and irregular. Regular to very commonly you know all. When all the sides of any polygon are equal, those are all called regular polygons. Those are all called regular. Like equilateral triangle is a regular polygon, three-sided. Square is a regular polygon. All four sides are equal. And where the sides are not equal, all those are called irregular polygons. So that you can understand from there. Then the next part you have to remember, which is the last part of your exercise from the application point of view, that is the angle sum property. So from the angle sum property point of view, it is depending upon the number of sides. So the sum of the angles of a polygon the sum of the angles, very important, sum of the angles, any polygon, sum of the angles of a polygon depends upon its sides. Formula is very clearly indicating it to you. N minus 2 into 180 degree. N minus 2 into 180 degree. So now N, where N is the number of sides. N is the number of sides. Suppose you are talking about triangle. You know 3 sides are there. So 3 minus 2 into 180 degree. So what happens? 1 into 180. I know that in the triangle the sum of the angles is equal to what? 180 degree. Similarly, if we speak about the quadrilateral, so 4 minus 2 into 180 degree. For example, a quadrilateral, if you are speaking, so quadrilateral, how many sides are there now? 4 sides. So 4 minus 2 into 180 degree, and that will be equal to what? 2 into 180 degree, and the sum of the angles of a quadrilateral will be 360 degree. Suppose you are talking about a pentagon. Pentagon is something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 sides are there. So what to do? 5 minus 2, n minus 2 into 180 degree. So 5 minus 2 is 3 into 180 degree. 540 degree will be the sum for a polygon consisting of 5 sides, and so on. You can find the number of sides of a polygon to get the sum of the angles of any polygon depending upon that. So in that way you can practice all these things before starting the exercise, and then tomorrow we can start with the exercise your 3.1 specially. Before that, again, few properties which you know from your previous classes point of view, like your linear pair angles and vertically opposite angles, adjacent angles, all these you please write somewhere, so that whenever I will be applying in the exercise questions, you must be able to understand. And 1 or 2 new formulas, how to find the number of sides based upon the interior angle or the exterior angle, that I will share with you tomorrow. Thank you.